Well, hey everyone, it's Mr. E here, and today I will be playing the part of a film critic, I suppose, doing a little bit of a breakdown of the two class reveal trailers that Darktide has had so far. Now, this is something that was of great interest to me at the time. Obviously, the reception for Hive Scum was way more lukewarm, I think lukewarm is being generous, than it was for Arbites. Arbites had a number of things going in its favor, not least of which was the fact that it was showcased at Skulls, which got a huge visibility boost. But these two trailers, I was just rewatching the Arbites reveal trailer for a video just about a week ago. These two trailers are just absolutely polar opposites in terms of tone and their overall goals in revealing and producing the intended effect. It remains to be seen how Fat Shark will advance forward with this, because they are going to be releasing more class. I think that we will be getting a class as the midpoint, probably in June of this year. We're getting a new class. We'll see what their trailer for that looks like. But yeah, we're going to go through here. We are first going to play through the Hive Scum trailer, since many of you remember that. It's much more close in our minds. And then we'll look back at that Arbites trailer, and I want to point out the differences here. Alright, so that's what we've got for our Hive Scum trailer. It was pretty damn unpopular at the time. And let's go check out the Arbites, which got a very hype reception.
Attention, scum! You are in defiance of the Emperor's law. You cannot hide. You cannot escape. We are judgment. Prepare for sentencing.
Okay, so I don't think it takes a expert sort of analyst to note that one of those has a much more profound effect on the viewer. One of those really nails on everything that Darktide is and is intended to be, and the other comes off as some sort of farce or like practical joke of some sort. It takes itself way too unseriously for a game that is supposedly about a mature, serious conflict like Darktide is. So let us start this conversation with something that I found very interesting that I'm going to tie back into my hypothesis. I'm going to tie it into what I think is going on at the end of the video, just to keep you watching along and see if maybe you can track this, because I have a little bit of extra insight on this stuff, and I'm trying to piece that together and make it make sense, but it is still a little bit confusing. So both of these trailers take place on a bridge. Isn't that weird? Both of these trailers that were produced ostensibly 6 months apart for different characters somewhere in the Hive City somehow just ended up on a bridge with enemies on it over a foggy expanse. That is how both of these, and additionally, the hero emerges from a tunnel, a roughly circular tunnel at one end of the bridge. We see that in the dog portion right here. And we see it, of course, with the Hive Scum right here. So these could be set in pretty much the same place, right? That, to me, is beyond coincidental. There has to be some sort of relationship between these two trailers and how they were developed in order for this to be the case. There is no way that two separate teams, or the same team even, looked at this and said, hey, let's just do the tunnel again. So I'll circle back around to that at the end here when I go to put together my overwhelming master theory for what happened with this trailer. But let's start to just go through and talk about why the Hive Scum trailer is just so sucky comparatively to the Arbites trailer. And first and foremost, we have to talk about timing and reveals. Obviously, you get one big impactful reveal, right? For the Arbites, that is way down here at the end. It is right here. I could play that 50 times and never get tired of it, right? So you see for the first time the actual dog, the shotgun, and the Arbites. You have already seen earlier in the footage, you've already seen the Arbites talking, but only this part of his face. You have already seen the shotgun getting shot. You know this is a powerful gun because it's killing people in one shot or taking their arms off. You have seen the dog, but only in a brief moment as sort of a silhouette or a blur, and all of that is building suspense, building anticipation. Here is your reveal, right? And so this is your sort of aura farm moment. Now, let's talk about how the Hive Scum reveals itself, because the Hive Scum spoils its reveal really early on. We see the Hive Scum for the first time as a character at 11 seconds. There she is, and let's just hold on her for like 3 or 4 seconds to drive in the effect, right? The Hive Scum is very visible in their own trailer, pretty much from moment one. There is no secrets about this character. There is no build to an ultimate reveal and oomph, and this is really like antithetical to building hype. When I was watching the chat and when I was seeing this revealed live, it was not very impactful because the impact is had here. This is the first time the impact of what's going to happen is completely deflated at this moment because you know already what the character is. This is supposed to be the reveal, and we get revealed at 11 seconds out of about 45 seconds of actual runtime. And this is the other thing here, and I don't necessarily know why this is, but the Hive Scum reveal trailer is 45 seconds, and the Arbites is 1 minute and 15 seconds or so. So you got an extra 30 seconds, or in terms of their overall runtime, it's about 40% additional time to work with for the Arbites, which it uses to great effect, right? Having that time to build suspense and make you like, you know, interested in what's going on the screen is very valuable. So I don't know why they went away, considering this is, you know, put on YouTube. This one was hosted at Skulls. This one was just hosted to YouTube. So I don't know if maybe they took out like a TV spot somewhere that was only a minute long and they could only afford a minute or something. I don't know why they went with this shorter time frame, but I think that was a very big disservice to the class because it leaves no breathing room to actually showcase anything about the character, and or to like actually like hide things about the character, because everything is worn on its sleeve right up front. The second thing that goes on here with the Hive Scum is that it doesn't really have anything else to show other than it's got these Uzis. And then once we do the Uzis, this delay here is far too long. We have already seen them pull out the Uzis and shoot this person. Look how long this takes before. This is supposed to be the moment, right? This like, if I were to give you a questionnaire, when is the reveal moment in the Hive Scum trailer? I guess this is it. But also it could literally be any other time. Like it could literally just be 11 seconds because now you know what the character is here. Or maybe this is the reveal moment. Hard to say, right? This has a definitive reveal moment of this is what the class is. Even though if you are a person who knows 40k, you would know from right here.
Defiance of the Emperor's law.
that it's an Arbites, right? And you would know from right here that there's a freaking dog that is on the way, or whatever, wherever it is, right here, right? So the Arbites trailer is able to take its runtime, and even though it is longer and ostensibly has like even like less stuff to reveal, like just the Arbites character, the way the character looks, the shotgun, and the dog, that's about the same or even less stuff than the Hive Scum can demonstrate. But it draws it out. It spreads out over the runtime, and it only shows you brief glimpses. And this is something that I think they did incredibly well with this Arbites trailer. In addition to this, they had a previous teaser to this cinematic trailer that was just this portion with the dog. It was literally just this right here. And this was fabulous because it was cut right here and cut out that roaring noise, so there was no context that this is an animal that is hunting these enemies down, and it left people speculating, it left people interested, it built hype, and that was several weeks before the actual reveal at Skulls. So that was really well thought out, and then of course intentionally it is left in the trailer, and they do an intentional second or so of black, and then they cut back to the continuation where you can visibly see that it is a dog. And so that is a hype moment. So already we have built some tension, we have built some expectation. You see viewers who have already seen that previous trailer and were like, wait, what is this? Oh, we're gonna see what it is? And then you see what it is? That's hype, but you still haven't cashed in that massive reveal moment that comes at the end. And we can continue to build to that using all sorts of different techniques, and this is where the direction, like the cinematic direction on this trailer, is absolutely masterful. So first of all, listen to what the soundtrack sounds like as we go throughout the rest of this Arbites trailer, if you didn't listen before. So it's just droning ambience, right? It's like droning ambience, and it starts to work into some synths and some organs, and you know what's coming, right? You can hear the Arbites yelling in the background in his horrendously throat-shredding, gruff voice. So, like, this has such a grim tone about it, and this main character is watching his allies get just destroyed around him. Like, just dead, dead. This guy runs out right here, dead. And look at where the camera is faced right now, right? The camera, it does everything in its power to never be oriented towards the direction of the reveal character. Because even when the dog has come down the tunnel, it's faced in this direction. When it cuts to this part right here, the camera pans to the right. And so from this point on, we never look, we can never see what's over here. It is a mystery. We know what's over there, but like, it's a mystery as far as, the viewer as to what is actually coming. And we get to here, and only when we finally get to this point right here, does the camera actually swivel around. And gives you this framing right here. So you know this is where our character is going to be, right? You are expecting the character to show up. You just don't know how it's going to show up. And of course, the reveal is incredibly good because it hides the reveal behind this guy's head that is then removed. Which we're going to watch this again because it's so fucking good. Yeah. So that reveal builds for a full minute. It has already shown you that there's a big-ass shotgun in there. It has already told you that it's an Arbites. It has already shown that there's a dog, right? But how does that reveal still hit so much harder? It's because it doesn't actually show you those things. It does not put them front and center in front of your character and go, look at them, look at this cool shit you're going to get to play with in just like a couple of days. This one shows you all the tricks, all the tools, and just spoils its reveals, right? It shows you from moment one that there's a crowbar, that it's a ganger. Then it shows the enemies running in, and it shows you got Uzis. So what is left to reveal from here, right? What is left to reveal? If they wanted to pull out of the nosedive that is the hype for this character at this point, where the hype is like plummeting through the floor, you would have to have pulled out the rocket launcher. I think the rocket launcher, in terms of things in the class that are hype, is probably the only thing that would actually like sway people. But there's no rocket launcher in this trailer, and I'll address that in a second. I do want to, before I pivot to that, I want to talk about the enemies as well. The enemies and the way enemies behave is a really, really big portion of both of these trailers. These enemies in the Arbites trailer are soldiers. They are fighting, right? You can put yourself in the shoes of our quote-unquote main character heretic out here. You can put yourself in the shoes of the person who's getting attacked by a dog, right? These enemies are competently fighting. They are shooting their guns towards a target, but it doesn't matter. They are getting obliterated anyway, right? They are getting taken out by superior firepower, by superior force. And importantly here, they look competent doing it. They look incredibly competent being destroyed. The enemies in this trailer are also destroyed, but when they have it happen, they look like absolute idiots. They look like they literally could not put up a fight if they tried. These two guys just completely whiff their attacks. Done, no problem. These guys run in. Oh man, I love this. This is my favorite part right here. Look how replayed this is by most people. Look at this guy on the left side of the character here that runs up. I'm pretty certain that guy on the left there even yells, "Charge!" And then they just get blown away, right? So, first of all, where are their guns? Did they forget their guns? Did I? Like, this is the Emperor's, sorry, not the Emperor's anymore, but the Mobian Sixth's only army that just couldn't afford guns to bring on their patrols. Yet somehow they managed to capture 2 veterans and an Ogren, and they're holding them hostage. Like, crazy work to do that with only melee weapons. Who knows how they did that without letting a single drop of blood spill at all. But, so, like, these enemies look totally ineffectual. They look like absolute jobbers. You are not impressed that our character can dispatch them because they aren't putting up any fight. And of course, when this character dispatches them, this is not the experience that you have in the game, right? You don't have the experience generally of enemies doing multiple backflips as you shoot them. Fuck, this guy over here isn't even getting shot. He's just taking a dive just to be nice, right? These are paid actors. I feel like Alex Jones. These are paid actors out here that are performing to try and show that these weapons are powerful and are cool. You know who's not a paid actor? The guy that gets his head blown off to showcase that these weapons are powerful and cool, right? And this is really where, like, the most glaring thing to me is this is an M-rated cutscene here. There's a flap of skin that came from the back of that guy's neck that's like dangling there. Or maybe that's, yeah, I think it might be skin. I don't know. That's gross, whatever it is. And this is completely bloodless, barring a little bit of an uppercut. The blood right here from the uppercut. That's about it, though. This second guy, oh, there's a little spray there. These guys get shot with bullets and don't bleed at all. They do multiple rolls. They break their necks on the ground, but they don't actually get shot and die from those bullets. So, to me, it feels like these trailers were designed by different people. But we know that probably can't be the case because, like, the bridge connection. There must be some sort of bridge. Hashtag Bridgegate or something. I don't know. Let's also talk about one other piece of auxiliary content that I think will maybe make this a little bit clearer or maybe even make it more confusing. And that will tie back into what I was saying before about how in order to save the reveal of this trailer, they'd have to use the rocket launcher, but they couldn't use the rocket launcher. Now, I think they knew the rocket launcher is a powerful thing to show because, of course, they put it into the other reveal trailers. Now, both of these characters have their own non-cinematic reveal trailers that use the in-game engine. The Arbites does, and the Hive Scum does. The Hive Scum showcases its rocket launcher. In here, you have this little graphic to showcase the rocket launcher. Here it is. And showcases it in action. And that's typically what you'll see in these showcases. Now, based on what I've been saying so far about how the direction of this Arbites trailer and this Hive Scum trailer are so different, they are like PG and R rated comparatively. would it surprise you to know that these non-cinematic trailers are virtually identical in terms of the content they can show? We've got enemies being blown up and pulped and taken apart by bone saws and crowbars and daggers. We've got war crimes and stuff in this one with the shot pistol. He just walks up to a guy and like executes him in the head with the shot pistol at some point, right? This guy, these trailers are very similar, and they're intended to promote buying the class. I think they come out generally after the class is actually dropped. But this is what I'm thinking here, and this is going to be the culmination of my theory. I think that the team that develops the cinematics is one team, right? I think that clearly whoever designed this cinematic, or this non-cinematic trailer, this one that uses the in-game engine, and this one for the Hive Scum, are probably pretty similar teams, because they know how to use the in-game models and rig them up and all that stuff. They tell a short little story beforehand, and then they start to display the weapons that you can use and how they all do. And the same thing happens here with the release of the Arbites. Little story, little setup. Here's your enemies. Here's us going to get the enemies. Yada yada. So these are virtually identical, and these could be no further apart except for that bridge connection. And here is my ultimate hypothesis, guys. This is what I think went on. I think that these trailers are some of the earliest pieces of content that is produced for classes, and they might even be produced as part of a way to kind of demonstrate to Games Workshop, or even to sort of convince yourself within your own company, like, okay, this is what the sort of look and design is we're going for. Now, I'm not saying they have to be perfect like CGI renders or anything, but the rough drafts and the storyboarding and some of the concept art, such as this concept art or this concept art, that stuff is done well in advance. Concept art is some of the first things you do. So I find it hard to imagine they wouldn't know what their character they're designing towards would look like very, very, very early on in the process. And then they work backwards from there to fill in other spaces. And this would explain why these trailers, these cinematic trailers specifically, don't showcase anything but the bare minimum in terms of weaponry or skills. Like, we don't see any ultimate abilities, we don't see any blitzes out of any of these characters. We see the bare minimum of weapons and like talents and stuff. So yeah, these characters are not fleshed out at the point that these cinematics are made. They are made very early on in the process, and then they are just kind of put together and polished up and made ready for the release. So here is hypothetically what could have happened, and just knowing what I know about how they work with Games Workshop, and that Games Workshop actually did not force them to do the Arbites. That was a choice that was given to them. That they had multiple things that were on the short list, and then Games Workshops actually ended up saying, maybe the Arbites looks like it's the one that's going to be the easiest for you guys. Go ahead with that. And I would agree with that sentiment. So what potentially happened here was they had an idea. They had the Arbites cinematic already cooked up. They had some storyboarding done. They had the art and all that stuff. And they said, okay, we'll go ahead with the Arbites. But we also want you to do Hive Scum for can we do Hive Scum for winter? And so at that point, if they had some of the same assets done, say for instance, they had been storyboarding and they had a freaking bridge in the storyboard, right? If they set their conflict that was going to demonstrate this thing on a bridge, and then they split the team and they went A team and B team, and A team finishes the Arbites trailer and B team takes that same core concept and goes and does Hive Scum, this would explain how you have that common genetics of they're both set on a bridge inexplicably in such a similar locale and with a tunnel and all that. But then also why the tone is so different, because you'd have two fundamentally different directors. You'd have your A team director, your B team director. And if there's no common oversight, if there's no one who is covering both projects and is looking over the shoulder and making certain that they are hitting that same tone, that's where you get these tonal imbalances. It's the difference between what's his name, the Zack Snyder and I wanted to say Paul Rudd, the Marvel director who did Batman versus Superman, right? The director's approach to these things can affect a lot. And so I think that would go a very, very long way to explaining why one of these has a very comedic or campy overtones and one of them is super grim. And, obviously one of those works better for the game, but I think that is probably what happened here. I think that the teams were split and we got our team split off that was set to do this Hive Scum cosmetic or cinematic trailer, and it just didn't have that oversight from the original director that to keep it all in line. But they would also tend to explain why we have a bridge. So yeah, basically what I'm saying is if there was a bridge in whatever reveal happens for our class this year, I'm gonna laugh really hard because it will kind of prove me right, but also I'll go insane. Maybe they're just doing it to troll me at this point. But anyway, let me know what you think down in the comments, guys. Obviously, I don't think there'll be too many people defending the Hive Scum trailer here because the Arbites trailer is just far superior. But do you think that they're going to be going more in the Hive Scum trailer direction in the future? Do you think they're going for a lighter or more PG sort of tone here, or are they? Was that just a momentary misstep? I am uncertain on that. And let me know if you liked my sort of cinematic breakdown. If I've got any film heads, film buffs in the audience, tell me how you thought about my visual analysis, etc. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Mr. Out. Bye.